Are we doing a clap?
Yeah, let's do a clap. 3, 2, 1. I almost said clap. This is The Great and Secret Knowledge. I'm Jeff, and back once again is the lovable, the incontrovertibly splendiferous Dave H. What's up, Dave?
It's going all right. Thanks for having me back. Thanks for not deleting my number after the last one.
Yes.
Yeah, it went great. It went great. Meh. Click.
It was awesome. I enjoyed the whole process from soup to nuts. Editing. I'm doing this thing where I write down all the references and then I'll link them in the show notes. Like it's a real archive of knowledge.
A professional operation.
It's I hope people enjoy all this depth and intricacy.
You're storing it all up so that when you get picked up by Max Fun, you've just got all the bonus features ready to go.
That's right. If we need to go to Patreon or whatever, I can hide those things. Or expand them into oh man.
Yeah, or you could just take it off of every
ideas.
streaming service, start your own streaming service, and put all the best content there, like Paramount did.
Oh, Paramount. Listener, if you don't know about Paramount Plus, or before that, CBS All Access, two of the legit worst apps in the history of computer programming. Goodness gracious. And Paramount Plus, I still haven't gone back. I run it through Amazon Prime because even though I don't want to support this massive behemoth company, they're all shitty.
Yeah.
They're all bad. And it's the only way to get a UI that's functional from day to day.
And even then, Prime is not. They're not
it's
batting
annoying.
1,000. Yeah. Nope.
There's too much stuff on the top. I just want to search for TV. How hard is that?
Here's a crazy idea. How about make the things that I do have access to the first hits when I search something on Prime, and not constantly be like, "Oh, you could watch this if you pay me another $14 a month." No, I'm just gonna go buy Blu-rays again. I'm old. I got my things I like. I'll buy them like I used to, and I'm good. I got this. I just grabbed the cheapest version of season 1, and it turned out to be the Steelbook. So now, I usually just grab the discs, throw them in an old CD wallet, and toss all that cardboard. But now this is like a collector's item. This is. Oh, you almost got it.
I got a taste, through the blur.
But yeah. So, I mean, if you watched this back in the day when it first came out, this was on. In Canada, it was on Crave. What was this on in the States when it first came out?
Oh, CBS All Access.
Oh, so this started on its own thing. This wasn't like a deal with Netflix or Prime or something.
Right. So far, all the Star Trek shows have started on Paramount Plus. Prodigy was a joint process with Nickelodeon, so I don't know if it ever got public air time or if it was strictly over some sort of Nickelodeon app or if it was all joined at the hip. I don't know. Now it's only available on Netflix because Paramount makes weird business decisions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's funny because back when you only had 20 channels or whatever, 3 if you don't have cable, or 5, whatever, it was either a show was on or it wasn't. It was up to you to videotape it or for a company to decide it made financial sense to put it out at the video store.
Which only happened in like the mid 90s. I remember the day I was in like an American mall. We were down in Washington State, and there was a store that basically just sold TV episodes on VHS, and it like blew my mind. It's like, this is crazy. One, I get to do this. I can watch these 2 episodes of X-Files as much as I want, but also it's like $20. It's $10 an episode. This is crazy. And like, I don't know what kids these days do, but like VHS tapes were not small. When there's like, what, 30 episodes in a season, that's 15 VHS cassettes for a season of a show. That's almost an entire IKEA bookshelf.
Yeah, when the X-Files was still on, it would take up like half of a row or like half of a shelf cabinet, whatever, because there was just so damn many of them.
And you couldn't break them up because they all had like one picture. You put them together and it was like a puzzle. Ooh, it's them on a hill. Yeah.
Yeah. Now you can get a whole season in one DVD or whatever.
And they're much, much better about just like, do like 10 episodes, do 8 episodes. The Brits have been doing 6 episodes a season forever for whatever. They got their own reasons, but like, you take all the writing for a 32 episode season, make it 10 episodes. Hey, guess what? All thriller, no filler. I haven't seen all of seasons 3 and 4 of this yet, but like, by my reckoning, there are no bad episodes of Lower Decks.
Yes, that is true. I don't love the one with which you probably haven't seen yet, Peanut Hamper's Triumphant Return.
Is that the one where she goes to the bird planet?
Yeah.
I enjoy that one, but
okay,
we can
so
deal with that
that
later.
one might be divisive, but there may be 1 or 2 that are like, I don't want to watch that again if I'm watching through, but like they're all good. Like, they're all quality. There's no fucking salamander episode.
Or like the whole first season isn't underlit and like just crazily shot. I love TNG, but man, that whole first season is rough. And honestly, I skip about half the episodes when I rewatch it now. For me, there's a lot of skippables, but so wait, what's your like first Trek?
This is a great point. We should start right there. Thank you. My first Star Trek, I was probably 10 or 11, and we moved to this house, and maybe we had cable. Whatever the channel was, it had original series Star Trek. And I remember my dad saying, I remember when that was first on. And we watched a few episodes. And I thought he really enjoyed it, but it turns out I mostly was watching it by myself. And so, like, I've asked him, like, you remember that one with the scary children and the girl was turning 18? And he's like, I don't remember that. Yeah, Mina or Mira. Yeah, so where was I? So that I really like that show, and then we watched the movies on video disc, like the motion picture Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock, and then the one with the whales came to town. We had a movie theater like 10 minutes away or whatever. We went up there and saw that, and I was blown away. I was like, Star Trek can be funny? Like, what? And I was finally old enough to like get some of the jokes. And seeing an invisible ship floating above a park was great.
Smushing that trash can. Yeah, it was great. A great effect. Double dumbass on you. All-time classic.
Yeah, and then my brother got into The Next Generation, and so I would watch that with him, but I'd usually like get sleepy or want to read or something. And then he started Deep Space Nine, and I heard that it had religion in it, and I was right out. That was right about the time I was not okay with religion. And and then I never watched it again for like ages and ages until I started listening to The Greatest Generation with Ben and Adam on a recommendation from another podcaster. And boy, howdy, being able to make it through some of those season 1 episodes, those dogs, those absolute like heaters, you know, just
yep.
Not heaters, colders. Yeah, gutter balls.
You know, you can't win them all. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was like 10 or 11 when I guess second half, later chunk of TNG. I don't know if it was like the original run or if it was syndicated. All I know is like every week around dinner time, it would show up on like Channel 12, like KVOS, whatever the Seattle station was, that we got up in Canada. And I remember watching TNG, and I remember every single episode had an ad for Buffalo jeans. And so I could my memories of the Starship Enterprise are absolutely intermixed with like 90s models turning jeans into shorts by putting them on train tracks, or like people like holding dripping cold bottles of soda while putting on jeans at the beach and shit. So that, I don't know, that imprinted on me hard, I guess. So I started with TNG, and then like would dip back into that every now and then. I liked the original series just because it's like it's weird, and like when I was a teenager, it also, you know, has hotter ensigns typically than later seasons of the show. And like it was also just like,
hold on, I just realized I'm not taking notes, and you've already said 7 fascinating things. Let me get this going. I want to hear more about Buffalo. What are they doing to these jeans?
They're selling them, man. They're selling them to nerds across the country. Yeah, I don't remember if it was in syndication. It would have been every night, or maybe it was just one night a week. I don't know, but I do remember just being fascinated with all the sci-fi everything, and it was like it was a show that was on early enough in the day, and that like both of my parents, even though they were fairly religious, they were totally fine with Trek because it was actually even weirder that they loved a show that was overtly like secular humanist, but I guess it had a good message, so they let it slide. Anyway, it was like one of the shows that I could just consume at will, but was also like occasionally really scary. And so for me, Trek was something that I was always like always drawn to, but when I was younger, it was like rolling the dice. Like, is this going to be a good time, or am I going to have nightmares for a week? Because there's a bunch of clicky guys pulling you through another dimension and strapping you to a table. Yeah. Then I watched like the original, and I was like, cool, I'll watch a bunch of Trek. I watched the first season of DS9, and then I fell off of that one. I tried Voyager. I can't. I've seen the pilot episode of Enterprise. I'm fine. I think today there's like what? How many Trek shows? There's this. There's with the other cartoon we were talking about with Jason Mantzoukas.
Are you talking about the Alex Kurtzman post break shows?
There's also, yeah. So there's that. We got Picard. We got Brave New World or Strange New Worlds. Is there another one?
Let's see. Discovery, Picard,
Disco. There it is.
Strange New Worlds, Prodigy, Lower Decks,
and the other cartoon. Oh, is Prodigy the other cartoon?
Yeah, Prodigy.
Right. All right. So there are 5. So like most of my conscious life has been nerds of various flavor being very upset that we never get any Trek, right? It's on for 7 years, and then there's like a 15-year gap, and then it's there again. Maybe they come out on VHS and it costs too much. But now it's just like, it's there. And I don't want to yuck anybody's yum. Like, I like my things. I love a lot of dumb shit, and people like their things, and that's totally fine. We have enough Trek that I can just not watch a bunch of it. And like people can people got theirs, and it's great, and I love it. But for me, Lower Decks is my favorite Trek, hands down. And it like out the gate, it was like 3 episodes in. I was like, no, there's 8 seasons of TNG with 20 to 30 episodes per season, but like, nah, 10 episodes of this, I will take that over my 2 giant accordion case Blu-ray box set of TNG if I had to. I love this fucking show, man. I love it so much.
So for me, it's the imagination. It's that they can make it look as strange or as interesting or beautiful as possible, which you just can't do on a TV show, really. Like Discovery does a great job, and Picard and all them, but it can all blend together seamlessly in a cartoon, in a way it's hard to do.
Yeah, there's no consideration about reusing sets and, crazy lighting and all that.
People don't have to stay thin if they don't want to.
That's right. Yeah, voice actors, they can do it in their PJs. It's all good. No complaints about how uncomfortable the uniform is. Easy
they could also
breezy.
age however they like. I don't know. Obviously, they have other jobs going on, but yeah. I like that they can they can focus on people with great voices that perfectly fit the role, I mean, I just can't imagine, like I did it once, but like auditioning day after day after day and going into a room with like 20 dudes that look just like you and like going for the same role, and some guy that just like is already in gets the job anyway. It's like, ugh. I don't know how face actors do it. It's got to be infuriating sometimes.
I played that game for like 4 months, and I was like, nah, I'm good. I don't need this. I auditioned. I got a callback to be Hunky Jesus in Saved, that Mandy Moore movie. Yeah, but that's my flirtation with fame. One callback at Lionsgate Studios.
All your friends call you Hunky Jesus.
I mean, I don't know how deep in the weeds you want to get on this one, but so in grade 11, my dad was in the Navy. Like my parents got divorced when I was 6. He moved into the States, U.S. Navy. So like I'd go visit him down in Washington State every now and then. And so I got my hair cut on base once. And I was like, yeah, so I just want this or whatever. And then the guy just had like the trimmer on a suction hose and just like and gave me like the boot camp buzz cut. And my dad was ripping on me, so I was like, I'm not getting a haircut again. And I didn't for like 2.5 years. And so when I was in my senior year of high school, my hair went past my shoulders, and then I just like stopped shaving and everything too. So I had like a big old beard, and I went to, even though it was a public high school, we couldn't like, evolution was a controversial topic in the town that I grew up in. Yeah, it was. So that being the case, I was like, well, I'm gonna go dressed as Jesus. And so I called all the costume shops in town, and they're like, well, we got like the robes and the staff, but we don't have like a wig or a fake beard. And I was like, no, I got this. We're all good. Yeah. So my passport photo for until I was like 23 was just me as Jesus. And that's a true story.
That's amazing.
I was very, very happy for the Greatest Generation to do DS9 the same way they did everything else, so that I could like, I now know all the plot points. I know what happens. I know who these characters are. Ditto for Voyager. Now we got Enterprise.
Oh, you listened to it even though you didn't watch?
Yeah, and like I was really worried when they switched over to DS9, because I was like, well, I don't know how deep into this I can go, but like that's probably my favorite season of the podcast. Even though I hadn't seen most of the show, it was just great.
It's a really wonderful show. Like, it's not an everyday watch for me. That's probably Lower Decks or maybe Discovery. God, there's just so much good Trek out there. Anywho, we got that out of the way. Let's get into episode 1 of Lower Decks. It's Second Contact. And let's just start our little devices, and let's watch as Douglas Station comes into view. We got lens flare. We got multiple ship models tootling around. Already we've spent more than Discovery's episode budget in 5 seconds here. So, yay for animation. Let's see. A male voice is giving a captain's log. There's all these cool layers, like really plenty of depth. I noticed that it's got like a depth of field, like in a regular live action, where like the helmsman in front is kind of fuzzy, and the people in the middle are clear, and then like the nerds at the back are fuzzy.
And they do a lot with the lighting.
Yeah, like way better than you can get on a live action. Looks so good. And it's got a 3D kind of element to it too, like you ever play Paper Mario?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a Mario RPG. Looks like paper cutouts. They have hard outlines, so they're kind of like paper cutouts.
Yeah, and I like when you're streaming, it's kind of, whatever the quality is, or you're watching it on your phone or whatever, but like it looks good. It's super crisp. Like the animation itself, I don't know, like did you watch the original Star Trek cartoon?
Oh, I love it.
The
It's
TOS
so bad.
cartoon?
It's
I love it
so
too,
bad.
but I also smoke weed. And so those two things are I think that's a prerequisite to enjoy that show.
You're probably right. Yeah, this show takes a lot of its cues from that one, like either things that were funny and deserved more bits on, or just a visual thing that was weird and like needs to be made fun of or brought back.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I love so much about this show is that like it has it has a bunch of fun, it does its own stories, but it also it knows Trek.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to have just like a devotion to Trek lore and little fun facts that, you know, so many of the fans do. And if something seems incongruous in another series or whatever, this is the place where all Trek fans can come together and be like, yeah, that was pretty dumb, but it's still Trek and we love it, and here that's totally fine. It's fine that was dumb. Like, spoiler alert, I love how much the Packlids are in this show. Like,
Yes.
that's a choice. That's a strong choice.
Really annoying character from an annoying Star Trek episode that turns out to be a lot buffer than we thought. Speaking of the animated series, there is a dragon in that they just thought, oh, surely there's flying lizards on several different planets, so half the episodes just have a dragon come swoop by for no reason. And so they have one in Lower Decks at some point. Maybe more, I can't remember. Let's see. So this purple-haired guy's given his speech. He says our specialty is second contact, and it looks like he's in a darkened room. And here comes this
pad.
Yeah. Door opens, and it's this black lady with her tunic sort of half open, and she just starts busting his balls for being a total nerd, pretending to be a captain.
And sloshing a bottle of Romulan whiskey.
Yeah, she thought it'd be green, but it's blue.
Yeah. Everybody else would do Romulan ale. Nah, that's kid shit. Beckett Mariner, she's straight into the hard stuff.
Hell yeah. So let's see. Purple-haired guy says it's against regulation. She doesn't care. She starts swinging a batleth. Can't remember what it's called. And then she cuts into his thigh. I got it from an old guy with an eye patch, and that made me think, could it be Martok? But surely not, because Martok's like the chancellor of the Empire. Surely everyone knows what he looks like.
Well, there's a later ep where they have to they're taking around a Klingon who was he? Who's the Klingon? I don't know. Some Klingon representative, and he also he gets shit faced and loses his wallet too. So it's on brand.
Worf, Worf, Worf! I love honor. I demand honor. And we get the purple-haired guy's beautiful scream into the credits. These are great
glorious credit sequence. Yeah. It looks good. It gives you all the Trek beats, and it's fun.
Flies right through the title. Beautiful stuff. It looks so serene, and then chunk, it bangs right into an iceberg. Lists.
Boop. There goes the nacelle.
And I have to ask, shouldn't the deflector shield have blocked those rocks?
That's a great point. Although maybe there's some sort of like, I don't know, biometric interference, or there's something the science advisor could tell them. We can't use the shields in this nebula. There was an entire episode
of Star Trek in that was the climax of, or maybe the inciting
incident. I love the
incident.
nacelle sucker. They're gonna have to spoil the milk.
Yeah, if you've seen Discovery Season 1, you might have seen one of these nacelle suckers before. It's a space whale.
Or that episode where they find Scotty on a Dyson sphere on TNG. A lot of nacelles getting sucked. Oop. But then we get introduced to one of my favorite characters. It's Tendy's first day.
Oh, Tendy is tremendous. She's played by Noelle Wells, and I was loving these Tendy in these episodes so much. I was like, I should finally learn who this person is. And she's really funny. She was on Saturday Night Live for a season, and she's got all these cute videos on YouTube. Yeah, funny lady.
I'm also a big fan of Tawny Newson and Jack Quaid. Tawny, of course, plays Beckett Mariner, and Jack Quaid is the purple-haired guy, Brad Boimler.
Brad Boimler.
Hollywood's good boy, Jack Quaid.
Nepo baby.
That's true. But even out of the sound booth, though, they have a ton of fun. Like when they do their promo rounds for new seasons and that, they do like ridiculous shows like Comedy Bang Bang and like actually get into it and have a ton of fun. So yeah.
Yeah, I listened to the one from their first, like right as the show was coming out. The four of them, Cordero, Wells, Newsom, and Quaid were on. It was very funny.
Oh yeah, and we haven't met Eugene's character yet, but we're getting the tour. You get a new character, get a tour of the locale. We get exposition, and it feels natural.
Oh, so on the shuttle, I noticed there was somebody with a Geordie visor,
and there was one of those guys with the vape rig.
The vape rig.
Yeah, what's his name? What do they call him on Greatest Gen?
Is it
something bro?
Benzite with the little things that come down and shoot steam in their face?
Yeah, his crazy vape rig.
Hell yeah. So I can tell that Tendy is really jacked. She's kind of into the excitement. Boimler, on the other hand, can't get his replicator to work. He's just getting hot bananas. She's like super stoked that she's in science and Boims and Mariner are command. And she says this funny quote, I love science. Oh, no, wait. Boimler, he says, I love science. It's so science-y. And it made me think, is Boimler like horny for Tendy? Because he has this real weird vibe to him.
I think Boimler is just like super excited to be showing someone the ship, and this is like his opportunity to like know a thing. He spends a lot of the show not knowing a thing, but he knows where things are on the ship. So this is like a big day for him, while Mariner forces her way in to just be cool about everything.
She's like, this is what lower decks people are like, kick flips and not washing hands. And Tendy's just so pumped. I can't believe we're going to serve side by side. Scientists and commanders, an elite team. And Mariner's like, it's not elite. None of that. Boimler said she could be chief medical officer. And Mariner does not want to be a senior officer, which I found odd considering she's in the command track. Isn't the whole point to ascend the ranks?
Yeah, you'd think that. Yeah, everybody that we spend time with has a single pip, except when they don't. I don't know. The show will promote people and then find a reason to bring them back down in fun ways. So we do get a taste. We get a taste of like how the other half live, but then we get back down into the nitty gritty with their hot bananas and their hidden contraband.
There is a moment where a character gets promoted and then quits or is fired. I can't remember which, but demoted back down. It's like a sitcom where you have to reset the standard or whatever until they decide they can move up for good. Mariner doesn't like giving the tour, but she does need help with contraband. And Boimler is not amused. So he's pointing out places on the map. And I noticed that Mariner has clearly heard his jokes before and is bored with them.
Yeah.
He thinks the bridge is cool, and she definitely does not. And we're pushing the contraband cart, and here's Rutherford, and his implant goes wonky. So Rutherford is this tall guy with a yellow shirt. He has a date with Ensign Barnes. Mariner says she's crazy hot. And he's pissed because his implant keeps suppressing his emotions.
Yeah, he's got like a Vulcan cybernetic head thing.
Yeah, so Mariner does a little tweak, and now it's working, and it's almost like, do you know when sometimes a Zoom call or something will slow down, but then everything like jumps back into place like to catch up, and it like chops all the sounds together sort of? It's like that. Like he's all of a sudden super anxious, like he had it all backed up, and he's like, I'm gonna puke. I can only look one way. I can't change it by tonight.
I love the detail that the eye that's in his little rig is like a pixelated eye.
Yes. That's good. So now Mariner's pretending not to know what these rooms are. Boimler's calling her out. Trying to puncture her vibe or whatever. And this is Boim's hidey closet where he pretends to be a captain like a big boy. And Boimler says, "This is not a good tour."
And then like for the first time ever in my reckoning, we get like the bunk beds. We get where everybody who doesn't get a stateroom lives on one of these ships. We're getting like the real life like enlisted crew feel, and we got a bunch of people walking around in towels and no shirts and stuff. We got like this is a post-scarcity future. Nobody's got to worry about getting knocked up or losing their job or whatever. So everybody's just cool all the time, and they never take their foot off the gas with that, which I love. This is even if we only watched The Naked Now over and over again. The lower decks are giving you so much more nudity than every other Trek combined. It's got it all. It's got it all right here.
Yeah, I mean, it lives the Roddenberry ideal that, like, nudity isn't really a problem. Like, prudishness has died away. Like, there's none of these hang-ups. To the point where later on there's a moment where I'm like, I feel like HR would be involved with this situation. But we'll get there. Let's see. They sleep near a shower. Tendi is loving being on the ship. She's watching the warp trails. And then Mariner says, let's go to the holodeck. Turns out Tendy's never seen a holodeck, I think. Which I'm skeptical of because I'm sure they use them to do the Kobayashi Maru, which for our non-Star Trek listeners is a test to teach. Oh, but that's just for command people.
Exactly.
And she's science.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe holodecks are still rare, even though they've been around for apparently 30 years, because Janeway remembers playing with Flotter and fucking Tree Guy. But that's a Voyager thing that you don't know anything about. But it's an annoying plot hole. I'm not going to get into it. Picard, okay. 30 years ago, Picard had never seen one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was like a big deal that they had one on the Enterprise D.
So you telling me for 30 years, Devon Attendee never came across a holodeck? I don't buy it. I don't believe it.
Where is this in the timeline? Because they are referencing events that other like ships are doing, like that have done in the show, and I feel like they're referencing TNG era events. Did you clock that?
Technically, it's 3 years after Voyager ended. So would that be like 2008, maybe? 2007? Which would have been 15, 20 years past Picard and all that. But I feel like even if it's just 15 years, it should be... The holodeck should have, filled in around the galaxy.
Yeah.
I mean, unless she was so good at Orion science studies that she didn't have to do any holodeck training. She just got pushed right to, like, she got her GED, Starfleet GED. Maybe. This is an annoying plot hole to focus on, so we can move on if you
That's fair. I mean, in a world where this, for our minds, in a world where this technology exists, I don't know who would be doing anything else.
Like, she literally doesn't know what white sand is? Come on. Give me a break. Ridiculous. Okay. Boimler is crazy for the warp core. Mariner doesn't get it. Tendy's impressed that Boimler gets to go to the bridge while Mariner downplays it and turns the holodeck program into the HR situation. Nude Olympic training program.
Well, here's the thing. Everybody's adults. Everybody's cool with their bodies. Hey, why not? And you know what? Since Mariner ends up occasionally having to clean out the filters, why not?
She's responsible for half of that liquid, so, From sweating. A lot of sweating.
Of course. Naturally.
So next we get to see the planet of Gallardonia, and it's really pretty. It's got these, like, pea soup-like dirt and yellow skies and these termite mound-like houses. And they've got really cool shuttles that look like little, little insects.
Little like purple pig men living there.
Yeah, I called them seahorse pigs.
That's right.
They have those little, snork horn things on the sides. I guess those are their ears, aren't they?
I mean, I guess, although if Star Trek The Undiscovered Country taught us anything, not everybody keeps their genitals in the same place. So,
oh, that's a good point. They may be a public genital society like the Ferengi.
Oh, your guess is as good as mine. But speaking of bug ships, there's also a lot of just bugs on the planet, it turns out. And Commander Jack Ransom gets one in the neck as they're saying their farewells, and he's about to beam back onto the ship. But he's a tough guy, and he's not going to let a bug slow him down. He's got stuff to do. He's
also got a bro, this bald guy with a stash. They've got their, bro routine. That was kind of cute. I noticed that Boimler often tries to manage his hair.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems unsuccessful most of the time.
Yeah, I guess a sonic shower doesn't give you enough volume. He's on the bridge. He's so tense to be up there that he's getting dizzy.
He's got sweat on the forehead. Ransom is like, "What the hell are you doing up here?"
No, he's there to get a special mission from the captain.
Hell yeah. The captain is this distinguished older lady, And she's like, Boimler, follow me. Goes into the office, and Ransom is there itching at his gross purple bite. And the captain wants him to keep an eye on Ensign Mariner. It's a spy job.
Yeah, the special job.
I know it's sort of the military, so like you got to follow orders, but it's hard for me to imagine informing on a coworker. It feels unkosher.
Without the pressures of like capitalism and like being like, well, I need this job to live, so I got to do what they're telling me. You got. I guess it's because he's just so dead set on getting promoted. He'll do whatever it takes to move up, even if it means just grassing on who I guess is his best friend.
Yeah, I mean, I think the theme of this episode could be that you want to make the right choice and take time to like correct your behavior, or else, because that's how you make friends. You do the right thing and don't inform on each other or whatever.
Yeah, narking on people is not a great way to make friends.
Yeah.
Oh, so we got a date. We got
Barnes and
Samantha and
Rutherford
Rutherford having their blue drinks out in whatever, I guess it would be the 10 forward analog, but with a way better bar.
Yeah. It's got these cool tables. I guess the tables aren't that fancy. They just look kind of
Rather glossy.
Functional. Glossy, yeah.
Yeah. But she's a trill.
That's right. If you don't know anything about trills, they have these spots on their bodies, and some trills are what's called a joined trill, which means they a worm-like alien lives inside them. Well, it might be home to their same planet. They might be a two-species planet. I'm not sure. But anyway, there's this worm thing that lives inside them that lives forever, more or less, or 1,000 years or something. It can go through multiple hosts. But we don't learn any of that in this episode.
Nope. So we don't know if she's got a host, but we know that Rutherford is still super, super awkward because he can't control his little implant. He keeps bugging out from charming gentleman on a date to Vulcan who's upset about emotions.
Yeah, angry Vulcan. It was very odd. So Mariner and Boimler have to go on this mission together, and Mariner's like, Shax drops his latte again? Guy's got baby hands. And I feel like this would have landed better the first time if we knew who Shax was.
Yeah. They don't establish that he's the hulking giant security man, like as big as 2 wharfs.
So clearly a second watch joke there. Boimler is feeling bad and suspicious of Mariner. And then he sees her run off and get into a truck and drive away.
Yeah, sneaking away in a buggy full of gear.
Yeah. I forgot to mention that Billups, that guy that just gave them their orders, Barnes makes a joke about him being bad with women. And that's another thing. Like, we haven't seen any evidence of that to this point, so it's hard to know if that's supposed to be that funny or not. But what we learn years later informs that. That's a second listen through tip there, folks.
That he is, in fact, extremely bad with the ladies. And more. Oh, but it turns out
Ransom goes nuts.
Yeah, you really should have got that bug bite looked at. He goes full vomit zombie.
He's spewing black goo. He's chewing on a guy's neck.
And then they're turning into zombies, and they're chewing on people.
Yeah, all around Barnes and Ruthy, there's just this chaos going on. Meanwhile, they're still kind of having a date. They haven't gotten fully into the action yet.
Yeah, everybody's flipping tables and blasting at zombies. They're blushing because their hands touched.
Now, what I can't figure is the virus or whatever contagion, is it airborne or is it goo?
I think it's goo based. I think you got to get bit or get gooed.
Okay, because some people get gooed up big and they don't turn.
Well, if you get like goo on your outsides, that's probably just gross. Goo on the insides. That's where you don't want the goo.
Like if they spew in your mouth.
Yeah, spew in your mouth or a bite wound. Medbay is mostly black goo.
Tendy gets absolutely buried by the
just
stuff
doused.
At one point. Oh, yeah. So funny.
And she's still loving it. Everything is new and amazing. Best day of her life.
So there's a cat doctor, and Tendy's going to be working for her for this scene. And I was supposed to be assisting Nurse Westlake. And the cat doctor points at the guy on the bed snarling, "That is Nurse Westlake." And he spews just all over her. It's totally nasty. Next, Boimler is behind a bush, and he's peeking in at these farmers. Mariner is giving some kind of tech to these Gallardonians.
Crates of Starfleet equipment.
Yeah, he is very suspicious. He's sick of her pushing him around. More beautiful shots of the planet behind them. And then he gets real freaked out, and he shoots one of the farmers with a phaser. Mariner's like, "Put that away," and starts rattling off regulations. And he's like shocked that she knows more regulations than he does.
Yeah, he cites like one code, and then she rattles off chapter and verse just at the drop of a hat. And it turns out, she is breaking rules on purpose most of the time, it seems.
Yeah, she knows exactly which one she's breaking. Almost like she counted them up ahead of time. Like, how much brig time will this get me if I get caught? So the farmers finally just run. They go through their little gate. They accidentally leave it open, and this gigantic spider rushes out.
It's got a spider. It's covered in goo. It's got like extra claws on its mouth and teeth somehow. It is 15 feet tall. It is terrifying. It is fast, and it takes off after Boimler and Mariner.
They're hiding behind some boulders, and the giant spider shooting butt webbing at a tree. Mariner defends her decision, saying the farmers were starving, so she gave them some help. And he asks how she knew they even existed, and she says she was here last year on the Keto before getting demoted to the Cerritos. And Boimler says he didn't know all that. And she says she was trapped in a sentient cave. And I think we need to stop briefly and be like, is she referencing something that happened in a single Star Trek episode or 7? Like, how many sentient caves have there been?
Now, would you also count it if the cave was one entire giant hollow suite? Would you count that as sentient if there's remember that when Riker's stuck with that alien kid in a cave, and he gets tricked into becoming this alien kid's dad? Remember that one? No? Man.
I wish I could.
Trek's got so much going on. Well, what other sentient caves are there?
I mean, there's a million cave episodes, I guess.
It's true.
It may be original to Lower Decks, but it just feels like the kind of thing that epitomizes Star Trek. She says, "That's a dark place that knows things." Let's see. Head taken off by almost had her head taken off by a singing crystal. She was in a Klingon prison.
Where she had to fight a Yeti for her own shoes for no reason.
He was just being a dick. Now that clearly has to be a reference to Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country.
Yep, with David Bowie's wife in jail.
Iman.
Yep. And I love that she straight up calls someone a dick. You spend a lot of time watching Star Trek being like, hey, these guys are being dicks. It's a good thing I'm not on the bridge, because I'd be like, yo, fuck these guys. But Mariner, she's there. She's one of us. She gets it.
Yeah, there's not a lot of cursing in Trek. I think there was maybe a hell or a damn here or there early on. And then in the movies, I can't think of one until Star Trek 4 when he says double dumbass on you. Let's see. Boimler says he's only been to 5 planets, including Earth and Vulcan. He only knows what's in the manuals, so he should follow Mariner's lead. And Boimler's like, let's leave. And she throws his communicator away. They can't leave because the farmers need the spider.
Presumably for its milk.
Yeah. General Order 5. Have you heard of General Order 5 anywhere else?
No, I just sort of assume all of those things are plot devices as needed. But there's got to be a book somewhere that has all this.
Well,
you could go, yeah, you could go buy a Starfleet manual and flip through. I know the Prime Directive, and that's about it. But it seems like Boimler doesn't know that much more either.
Yeah, he says, we'll just stun it. And she says, no, it could spoil the milk. Boimler dismisses this idea. But as I thought about it, I realized that she only saw one giant spider, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which might suggest that it isn't an animal for meat, but for some other purpose. So isn't it a short leap to milk?
Yeah, and it's also easily the grossest decision that could be made, which when you're on a crazy alien planet, man, all bets are off. And so they trick the giant spider cow into eating dummies made out of their clothes. They try to jump it for some reason. What do you think her plan was?
I need to take this step by step. She says, 5 ships, Yeti shoes. I am always right. Take them off now. Smash cut. They've taken off their outfits and she's made puppets. And yes, the big spider is going to town on his uniform. And I love that he's like annoyed. He's like, why don't we wait until it eats your uniform too? And now she jumps on it. Why did she yell Mark before jumping? I've never heard of this.
Yeah, I think it's just an indicator that like the target is here or something, because deep down inside she is actually super good at being a Starfleet officer.
Fun. Okay. So she jumps, then Boimler, but he jumps badly because the spider nabs him in its mouth and starts gooping and sucking him.
Yep. Slurping him in and out, shooting him in the air, in his little undies. While Mariner's just...
Mariner's just watching. He shouts, phaser it, and the farmer begs her not to shoot it.
It'll spoil the milk.
He says it's just suckling for moisture. Mariner yells up to Boimler, it's just suckling you. You're fine. And we get to hear his extremely funny scream.
Not for the last time, but God.
Mariner tries to encourage him. Go to your happy place. Ooh, think about the warp core. Okay, we go back to
talk. The warp core is extremely relaxing. You ever just put on one of those YouTube videos that's like a 10-hour loop of the warp core?
I did once just for fun, but now I kind of want to try it just to relax.
Just go to sleep listening to the warp core.
Yeah.
What's not calm is a full red alert alien zombie invasion on the Cerritos.
Rutherford and Barnes are backed up to an airlock, and they decide to spacewalk to the rally point. And this shit looks so awesome. You see the planet in the background while they banter. They're talking about the monkeys. And then Rutherford says, let's just say I'm a believer. And they go floating up, and we go past a window of shacks just wailing on fools.
Cleaning house. Just throwing dudes into dudes.
It's outer space, so we can't hear any of it. And we see them just being totally badass at this action stuff. And then weirdly, this hatch won't open for them. And so he finally gets it open, and he thumbs up for her to move through it, and then jumps in after. And I thought it just tactically, it seemed like good retreat, process. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
like
controlled.
Well
they're not
trained.
panicking. Yeah. They're like following the steps, watching each other's backs, and then they get in the elevator. And Barnes wants the date to keep going.
Takes off those helmets, they kiss, and then he's like, I gotta find out why that thing didn't work right. And she is so disgusted.
Why doesn't she get it? Why doesn't she find joy in a weird engineering problem?
That's a great question.
We get Tendi covered in goo. She's back in the med bay, and she's got somebody's heart in her hands. She's pumping his heart so that he doesn't die.
It looks so nasty.
There's so many fluids in this episode.
It was a real South Park moment for me because she's squeezing away at it, and there's zombies just going in the background. Oh, shit. So pump this. Don't pass out. Nobody's authorized to pass out. That was Dr. T. We cut back to Mariner having some milk while Boimler gets a last suckle. And she pulls him out of the spider, and he goes, my bones.
And he's super drenched in purple goo, which is good because he's lost his underwear. That's long gone now.
Yep.
So he's just buck naked.
I'm naked. So they drive back through this idyllic landscape, got this lovely music going, and Mariner says, I think we make a pretty good team, Boimler. And he admits to spying on her. And she doesn't get why he worships the leadership. He starts to defend the captain, but stops and says he's going to report her.
She counters.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, she counters that they don't care about them. They like the command on a ship are only focused on what's going to cement their legacy. What are they going to get written up for? What are they going to get some award for? So she seems super duper bitter about the command structure in general, and Boimler hasn't figured that out just yet. God, that's a lot of purple goo.
So they get to the rally point. They beam up to the ship. Everybody's in the transporter room, like the senior staff, the doctor. Dr. Ta'ana swipes Boimler's face and analyzes this spider milk. She says they've got to get him to the sick bay. Captain says, what makes him so special? Nothing. It's the slime, Captain. Everyone, protect this slime. And Shax throws him over his shoulder, and they get going. God, protect this slime. It's just a perfect quote. God. Oh, and the action. Like, action scenes like this, to be done well, would require, like, a choreographer of the status of... Who's the guy that did The Matrix? The wire work?
Oh, right.
Like, change the game.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever that guy was. But yeah, it takes that level of like rehearsal and stunt people like to do action scenes like this. And Lower Decks episode 1 is like, nope, we got you covered.
Yeah, you got Shax hurtling through a crowd of dudes with like, I don't know, a bunch of crates. You got a bunch of people in the foreground getting shot, everybody in the background. Like most Star Trek, when there's a fight, it's people like hiding behind cover and popping out to shoot each other with a flashlight, and like you could probably just walk around that. But this is like chaos. It's everybody going nuts. Everybody's got a phaser out.
You know what I just realized? I had the sound off and I was just advancing in short bites as you talked, and I realized that when there's a loud noise, the camera like wobbles up and down a little bit. And including when Shax drops Boimler, like the camera wobbles a little, like the ground shook. That's a nice little flourish. So the crew makes it to sickbay, and we learn the milk will neutralize the rage effect. T'Ana says the captain doesn't have much time. We see little purple veins on her. And Mariner yells, "Ooh, should have washed those hands, Captain!" Ransom is cured, and the best part of the episode. Where am I? Did I eat flesh? Hardly any. How much did I eat? Did I eat flesh?
Hardly any.
How much did I eat?
They spray the purple gas throughout the ship. The captain congratulates Dr. T'Ana. She makes a bad joke, and the senior staff laugh. And this is going to be sort of how things work from here on out. Like, it's teaching us how to watch Lower Decks. Like, expect that the senior staff will take all the credit for the thing. The Lower Decks will, like, almost die, and it's, their sacrifice isn't really that important. Mariner tries to explain that Boimler saved them. And then Tendi is stoked because she got to hold a heart.
I love that when the captain's given her captain's log talking about how great the senior staff were, and no mention to anybody else, she's doing it in front of Boimler. It cuts from her doing a captain's log to him just standing in the room.
The sole efforts of Dr. T'Ana.
Sorry about that, Bumford.
Luckily, my senior staff are always up for a challenge. Sorry about that, Ensign Bumford. What do you have to report? So Boimler does the right thing here. He doesn't sell out Mariner. He says she was fine. And then he goes, maybe that goo that saved the ship messed with my memory. This is like, okay, I'm pausing it. This is at work when your boss is getting too close to the truth, like you fucked around, your break took too long or whatever it is that you need to keep to yourself. You just act really stupid. It's a practice from time immemorial. Just find an excuse to why you're a dumbass, and management will usually accept it because they assume we're dumb anyway.
Yep, they didn't expect much more from you. I do like that him being such a kiss ass for the whole episode and like being nervous to be around the command staff. By the end of the episode, when she's doing her little self-aggrandizing speech, even he is rolling his eyes. You can see like he's starting to pick up on this.
Yes. So even now he's trying to correct the record, though. He says something. Maybe it's just the eye rolling. Oh, maybe that goo that. Yeah. So even by acting stupid, he still gets in that the goo saved the ship. And he's like, that I was a part of that. It's like he wants to be insubordinate, but he would never. Yeah. I would be similar in that situation. And then Admiral whoever calls, and she says, Ransom tried to eat a guy. We're fine. She wants to throw Mariner in the brig, and he's like, she loves the brig. So we don't know where things are going to go from there.
But we do find out that the reason she's trying to get rid of Mariner and she's trying to pawn her off on an admiral is Mariner. Surprise! Mariner is the captain's daughter, and the daughter of the admiral, who's voiced by Phil Lamar, by the way.
Phil Lamar. Should I know him from somewhere?
Oh yeah, Phil Lamar. He was on Mad TV. He did a ton of voices on like Futurama and stuff. He's done a ton of work. He plays Hermes and Reverend Preacherbot. Bunch of great characters. He gets his head blown off in Pulp Fiction.
Does he really?
Yeah. He's the guy they have to clean
out
of the car.
He was the young guy in the back seat?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Oh, man, he is good. Okay. So that admiral gets his head blown off. we cut over to the bar where Tendi is asking Rutherford about his date, and he praises her like a gentleman, but he says he's not seeing her again. And Tendy's like, why? He says she had zero interest in why a red alert messed with the hatch lock. Who has time for romance when there's a level 2 diagnostic just sitting there waiting to be run?
The very idea.
And she's like, don't have to tell me twice. I am right there. And, yeah, that was a good bit. We cut over to Boimler and Mariner. And Boimler's praising Mariner, says Starfleet is better with you in it. We learn that he didn't sell her out, so she praises him back. And she must be a little drunk because she goes nuts. We're going to get your butt in a captain's chair. Guess what? I'm your new mentor. Boom. Surprise, bitch. It's done. How does it feel?
This is a moment, man. Ooh, this is a mood, okay? And I do not care how long it takes. We're going to get your butt in a captain's chair.
This isn't a big deal.
Guess what? I'm your new mentor. Boom, surprise, bitch. It's done. How does it feel?
No, you can't just decide.
Whoa, she's your mentor?
No,
Lower
she's
decks,
not.
lower
Congrats,
decks,
man.
lower decks.
That's cool.
Teamwork,
No,
spirit,
no,
community.
wait.
Lower decks, lower decks,
don't
lower
stop
decks.
looking
You're gonna be my Chadich from now on, baby.
I don't
okay,
want lessons
Klingons,
from
they're
you.
all about fighting. They're always making oaths about everything.
Everyone knows that.
Did you know about Spock? Dude came back from being dead.
Yeah, I think I've heard of
He's a
Spock.
freaking Genesis device and fought Khan and some space
Can we
whales.
just go back to not being friends?
How about Sulu? Ooh, he rocked a sword. That was his thing. That could be your thing, too. We're due for a new sword
What
guy.
can I do to make this stop, please?
Do you know Kirk?
Yes.
My man Worf?
Yes.
Gary Mitchell?
I'm sure I could look him
You
up.
don't have to because you have a mentor.
don't touch
Do you
me.
know Deanna Troy? Her
No,
body be
don't touch me.
banging. She went from a jumpsuit.
Oh, man. I love that they just, like, I feel like every episode ends on a mega laugh. Like they want to get you out, like just losing it. So they save all this real silliness till the end. You're going to be my Chadich from now on, baby. And references. I should have asked you at the start if you had a favorite reference, but she mentions Spock's rebirth in Star Trek 3. She mentions Khan and the space whales. And then she says, how about Sulu? Do you know Kirk, my man? Do you know Kirk? My man Worf? Gary Mitchell? Do you know Deanna Troy? Her body be banging. She went from a jumpsuit, like, oh.
Yeah. Oh, I don't have a standout reference in this one. I do love the bucket full of contraband. There's just a bunch of great bits in there, but I love that when she gets a batleth, it's like, I hope that's rust. I don't know. She didn't get a batleth. She got an extremely dirty batleth, and that's what she put into Boimler.
Oh, it must be blood, right?
Well, but like Klingon blood's purple, right? Well, I guess it depends what movie we're watching.
It could have been human or some other red-blooded race. Species. Okay. That was a good pilot.
It's a great pilot. So I skipped back to her contraband crate. So there's some like generic stuff in there, but of all the things, she has that that poison spike glove from that super duper racist episode of TNG where
No.
Natasha Yar had to like fight a lady in a jungle gym to like own her land.
Code of honor?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus. Poison spiked mace from Code of Honor. Good grief. So yeah, we get a lot of these references in a season. Some episodes have more than others. Like the collector ship just had hundreds. They're coming out the woodwork. But this one has to set up the characters and the like world building stuff at the same time. So there'll probably be more in future episodes. Yeah. I guess mine's just batleths. I think batleths are cool. And she cuts right through his leg.
Get the marbled meat. Like there's layers in that leg. That's not just like a red flap. Somebody animated all that.
Oh, and that's another thing you can do for free, essentially, in animation, is gore.
Yep. Crazy makeup effects. You don't have to worry about a bunch of PAs cleaning up all of that slime. We got purple slime. We got black slime. We got a ton of blood. Did we get any other fluids in this one?
Sperm. No.
That's just in the holodeck.
Water. Oh, sweat. There was sweat all over Boimler in one scene.
Yep.
There was the goo from the spider. Did you mention that?
That's the purple goo.
Okay, purple goo. There was a lot of that. Yeah, I love a goopy episode. That'll be a theme. We'll get quite a bit of goop in this series. Anything else to... did you have a favorite regular in this one?
Tendy's unflappable attitude. It seems like a one-note thing, but over the course of the show and like books and stuff like that, it's like a clear choice that she's making, and that makes it funnier every single time. Have you read the book Warp Your Own Way?
I got about halfway through it.
Okay.
And then I read the first Lower Decks comic from the library.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty good. Was there something specific in Warp Your Own Way?
Yeah, it's like page 1 or 2. Hold on. Okay. So they wake up. They got the spot. So at this point in the timeline, Tendy and Mariner are like roommates, and they get woken up at 7 a.m. by the Spock clock. Just Spock's voice being annoying. And the first thing we get Mariner going, "I hate the Spock clock, Tendy." Fascinating. Aw, I love him. Like her unflappable positivity in the face of somebody saying, "I hate this. I hate this thing that you're doing," and her reaction being, "I love it," is hilarious to me. I love that. So yeah, Tendy's starting off strong in this one. Samanthan is okay, but I think for me, Tendy and then Mariner is a close number 2. What about you?
Well, I remember posting immediately after seeing this episode, I feel like such a Mariner, and it's true, but I mean, she's way more badass than I am, obviously. I don't have the discipline or
a bat
or
life.
whatever to be in the military and all that stuff. But I definitely buck authority and just kind of try to convince people to see things my way and then just do my thing. But I'm also like a rules guy like Boimler. I'm not ambitious though like him. And Tendy's aspirational for me. Like I want to be like Tendy, but yeah. And also I have a weird like sexual attraction to Tendy. She's like Maid Marian level from Robin Hood, the Fox lady. She's on that level for me.
Sure.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I could see that. There's on that front. Yeah, there's a lot of like sexually drawn characters in here. They're roping people in. They're getting the fans shipping.
Yeah, you don't have to pay premium actor prices to get the like hottest people. Not that Noelle Wells isn't pretty, but like, it's cartoons. You can make everyone like, from a 9 to a 10 or whatever.
Yeah, they get Shax's shirt off and he's just got like muscles on muscles.
Yes. Oh man, Shax plays a big role in episode 2. Should we jump into it?
I think so. Where are we at? We're like
an
hour. It's all good.
8:30, yeah. So this one just starts with a nice little floaty shot of the Cerritos, and then a blue sphere flies in, pops into a storage room.
A little energy guy.
Yeah, a little energy guy. Flies up, and it turns out he's a dick. He's like, "Supplicate yourselves." Mariner and Tendy are pushing a cart, and she's suggesting that they get drunk and get a dude all worked up. Tendy doesn't get the appeal. Do you think she really doesn't get it? Or is she trying to like beat the stereotype of Orion's being horny, and so she doesn't want to like play into that?
That's a great question. He's like, with everything else about her, it'd be easier to think like, oh yeah, she's just like a workaholic, little keener. But like, no, like we learn later, no, she's full on Orion. That's a great question. I don't know. I don't know how she would keep it up the whole time that way.
Yeah, she's definitely choosing to be peppy, but she might also be prudish. We don't know where she stands on dating or anything like that. So he goes, supplicate yourselves. And Mariner grabs it and tells Tendi to bring over a canister. And she says, we can use this thing for all sorts of cool stuff. Tendi's like, isn't it wrong to trap a sentient creature?
You heard that guy.
He's a bad guy. He zaps people. I shall make a feast of your misery. And then as she's pushing him in, he's like, I can grant wishes. I'm listening. She demands a tricorder with a purple stripe, and the sphere loses a significant amount of mass. And then she says she wants a power pack, and it gets even smaller. And then Mariner and Tendi just walk off. And I had to wonder, like, did she know what she was doing? Was she just going to keep asking for things until he became tiny?
I think they live in a world where this sort of thing happens so frequently. They're like, you know what, bridge crew, they're going to deal with this sentient orb thing. Maybe it's going to impregnate Deanna Troi again. Who knows? But not our problem. That's above my pay grade.
That's a good interpretation. I like that.
I love when she's shoving it into the canister. She's got it in a classic like noogie headlock, like full on crook of the arm, just like mashing on its head. I'm surprised. It would be nice if they took him to the toilet and give him a swirly too.
Sphere swirly. So they take off, and then the captain is coming down the hall, and the sphere attacks her and just goes whoop into her uniform, and we never see that thing again.
Nope.
As far as I know.
What would be an hour-long episode is our cold open.
That's right. So do they do this a lot, to have the like comedy cold open?
I'm trying to think, because I've been rewatching to do this. Like some episodes don't even have a cold open. It seems like the type of thing, like this is outside of the show now, but like it seems like the type of thing where when an episode's a bit short, they might just like have a bunch of those on a whiteboard somewhere. They're like, all right, we're 90 seconds short on this episode. Let's just throw in one of the non sequiturs.
I like that.
Does the purple tricorder come back?
You could make those anytime, I suppose, to fit in. The purple stripe tricorder does not, unless it's the same tricorder as one that they try to steal from another ship later.
That's the new scanner.
Yeah.
Is that one also purple? Yeah.
I don't know if it has a purple stripe or not. So we get these credits again. They've got ROMs fighting Borgs. Just really good stuff. Back in the storage bay, Tendi and Mariner are hanging out.
Watching YouTube videos.
Yeah, they watched a video of an admiral falling. Boimler comes in with news of a mission. He's talking about somebody, and they're speculating about who it might be that's going to get this cool mission. Castro, who went to the Enterprise. Pajak, what a snack. And Boimler's like, no, it's me. It's me. This is my mission. And he's going to be piloting General Corinne down to the planet. He's some sort of decorated, battle-hardened Klingon warrior. Mariner's playing dumb, and she's like, yeah, it probably has an apostrophe for no reason. Klingon names. Something about exotic. I can't remember. Oh, your idea of a reward is an exotic run. And then he's like, you're in a cargo bay. And she says, it doesn't get more exotic than this. I don't know. Is she just being contrary? Because she knows she's going on this mission already, right?
Yeah, I think she's the exotic one. Doesn't matter where you are. If you're with Mariner, it's an exotic place.
Anywhere she is, that's the place. I love that. I'll make a spot exotic because of my chaos.
And then Rutherford just appears out of a hole.
No, is this a trope we see in other things? The mechanic that just pops out of ducts before? Is this new?
I think like every time anybody has to hide on the ship, it's always the Jeffries tubes. Oh, Ferengi took over the ship. Well, we're gonna crawl through the Jeffrey tubes and get him. Or like everybody's addicted to suck disc game. Wesley has to run away from everybody, and it's always in the tubes. And those tubes just seem to be everywhere. So I think they're just riffing on like every ship being like a habit trail of friggin' Jeffries tubes, which Rutherford can't get enough of.
He is gaga for these things. I've got blisters on my blisters. Let's see. So he's like, he's got to do more tubes. That's another 3-4 days in the tubes. And she's like, well, I thought you were going to watch this nebula or whatever with me. And he's like, oh, shit, I forgot. I've got to do it. I'm Starfleet. I never go back on my word. Which means he's going to have to quit his job in engineering and switch divisions. Perfect answer for that problem.
Such a bro. He'll quit his job to hang out with you.
Like, it's such a sitcom choice, you know?
And then I love that everybody else on the ship just doubles down on that. We'll see. He goes to his boss. He was just gushing. His boss can't praise him enough
Billups?
for all his great work.
Yeah, he loves it. Before we get to Billups, though, we go to the shuttle bay with Mariner and Boimler. Boimler is horrified to discover she's already in his shuttle. She's got it all nasty with ramen and soup. Apparently, she's going to be flying the shuttle. He's wearing a dress uniform. So for folks who don't have a deep history of Star Trek, in the first season of Star Trek The Next Generation, they decided that some dudes will just wear miniskirts. And that was in one episode, the dress uniform that Picard wore to an ambassadorial function basically looked like a miniskirt. So I think that's what this is.
Yeah, a Starfleet maxi dress over legs. In that first season, like there were dudes just walking around bare legs in the miniskirts. They were honestly, all clothing is unisex if you're cool enough, I guess.
Hell yeah.
But I love that, like, yeah, he's in his little dress uniform, and for some reason the Klingons' luggage is tartan. Did you clock that?
I didn't notice that. No, I didn't. Yeah, you're right. Tartan luggage. How strange. I thought maybe those were straps. But no, that's definitely tartany. So let's see. She's moving the blast shield up and down and singing a really annoying song.
Ooh, this is the new shuttle with the blast shield.
Yeah.
The blast
Stop it.
shield
No,
is the
it
blast
works.
shield. And it
It
comes
works.
down and it
You
goes
don't
up.
have to.
Blast
Stop it.
shield.
Stop it.
Let's see. Rutherford tells Billups he's transferring, and Billups is totally cool about it.
Almost excited. Got to find a new opportunity.
Yeah, I think this is a joke on how in Star Trek, nobody's allowed to be mean to other Starfleet people. You know, they're supposed to be the best of us and prove that, like, humans can get along.
Yeah, Roddenberry's old rule, the no interpersonal conflict for the crew.
Yeah, so they just, like, play it up like it's going to be the worst thing ever. And then the lights light up again, and it's like, this is exciting. I'm sure wherever you end up, they'll be lucky to have you. And then the crew starts chanting his name. Rutherford, Rutherford. So we cut to the shuttle. Mariner is passed out drunk, talking in her sleep. Is this a reference to a previous Trek thing? Buried alive, marooned for eternity, moons of Nibia.
Buried alive. Buried alive. Wrath of Khan.
That's great.
He tasks me. He tasks me, and I shall have him. I'll chase him round the moons of Nibia and round the Antares maelstrom and round perdition's flames before I give him up.
The classic. Have you been to any cons?
No, I'm going to my very first fan convention ever in February. The Doctor Who convention in LA. Gallifrey 1.
Very cool. If you ever go to a Trek con, I would recommend brushing up on your Wrath of Khan scream, because it's not an uncommon thing to have a competition to see who can do the best con. Con!
Is that Kirk saying con?
Yes, Kirk shouting con into a little communicator. Watch a line of dudes go ape.
So Boimler has been studying up on Corrin. He says they gotta do deference and respect. And Mariner jumps him right as he arrives. Just starts wailing on him.
Pulls his knife.
Whole fight. Knife to his throat. And then they start laughing. Starfleet has made you soft, Mariner. I must update you on my many sexual contests, Mariner. What, both of them?
And they even do the Predator handshake.
Hell yeah. So Corrin wants to be landed in Little Kronos. Boimler's like, what? We can't do that. And then we smash cut to Mariner saying, I can't remember why she's saying this, but she says, I got chewed out, but he got his ass chewed up. Where did they even get flagons? So the man want hot worms. We got to get down there. Now, why is the console hot? Is that just from the ramen, or is there something wrong over there? Because I feel like it comes up later, the console being hot.
I mean, they do spill a lot of shit on it in this episode.
Oh, Boimler gets blood wine all over him. And the console.
And his glorious dress outfit.
We learn that they're going to an unsecured district. Mariner says they're blood bonded. He passed out on his sword. Do you remember what that was about?
Oh, he's just shit-faced.
Corrin jakes the shuttle.
Yep.
And Mariner laughs, classic Joran. So, jakes, for some reason, a character on Star Trek The Next Generation named Jake steals a shuttle.
And almost crashes it into a planet.
Yeah. And so Ben and Adam on Greatest Generation decided anytime somebody takes a shuttle that doesn't belong to them, that's jaking it.
Yep. Would you say this is a bunk bed class shuttle?
Oh, gosh.
Is that more of a brat?
Yeah, I don't know. It's new, so I feel like we need a new classification. It's kind of like the Galileo in shape, from the 60s, but with smaller nacelles.
And way more leg room.
Yeah. I'll have to think on that. Previa Plus. It's almost like a Windstar from the 90s. You remember the Windstar?
Yeah.
It's got that point to it. Let's see. Boimler says, did you even read the mission brief? She says, I'm sorry, I skimmed most of it and read some of the captions. Boimler starts speed walking to conserve energy. And then we cut to the marketplace, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
They're talking to a worm vendor.
Yeah, he says, "This is serious. I think we're violating the Kittimer Accords." They're talking to the Gok seller, and she's like, "Are you spies? Are you trying to follow Corinne?" And somehow Mariner gets out of her that he went north in search of stronger ales. Oh, she said we're Federation dogs. And Boimler says, "So we're Federation dogs, huh? Hey, if it got us what we needed, woof, woof." Boimler bangs into a big monster guy, knocks down his worms. And Mariner, to get him away from them,
steals his wallet and hucks it down the alley.
Yeah. I guess Boimler does try to speak in its language and says, "Female outside feces." Oh, God.
Boimler, let's keep moving.
No, I need to apologize in his native tongue. Let me think. He's, a taxor, right. And they communicate through guttural tones. Ooh, 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 ooh.
He says, "No, don't hit him. We have a treaty." Even when he's being squished to death, he's like trying to follow the rules. And we find out that giant monster was a teen. That's fun. So we're in the holodeck. Ransom does command training program 43 with Rutherford. He says something about needing the hot pulse of a joystick in your hand. The bridge is where the action is. So he says, let's start with this classic training program. We get a bridge. We get some people flying the ship. And he says, be gentle but attentive. She knows where to go. Guide her home. And immediately we're in a Kobayashi Maru situation. Just there's blood on everyone. Captain, we're being drawn into a temporal rift. The computer's like, casualties 105%. Wait, how did I kill more than the whole crew? So everything blows up, and Ransom's like, that was a rough start. Next time, use the Janeway protocol. Do we ever learn what the Janeway protocol was?
Not in this ep. As far as I know, it means making a deal with the Borg? I don't know.
They're moving toward this very small asteroid, and he goes, do the Janeway protocol. The helmsman's like, are you sure? So we have no idea what it is. Maybe it means go really fast directly towards the target, because they hit it, and the pre-K is gone. All the ship's children have been ejected into space. All those kids. Ransoms goes, let's try another one on a ship with even more children. All right, we cut back to Risa or whatever this place is.
Basically, Risa. I mean, it opens on a Horgon, so things are looking up.
Yeah, sex planet. So they're talking about their different philosophies of training. She's like, you gotta just be your best, or no, she's like, you gotta cut loose and like get into it, be nasty. And he's like, but I want to study more. So, yeah. Are you more of a studier or a getting in the mix guy?
I like to straddle the line. I've got the OCD in that. I wanna read the instructions before we jump into the game. But then as soon as we're in the game, I'm gonna try and break it.
Nice. I like that. Yeah, again, I'm torn. I want to be a badass, but instead I study. Let's see. Boimler meets this lady in red, and she's real sensual. She seems to really want to jump Boimler's bones. And then Mariner shoots her with a hose. And they're trying to chase it off. It turns out it's a weird creature.
Some
and she
weird
says, I know
monster.
You still want it. I know you still want it. I can hear your nasty boy thoughts.
She runs away telling everybody, he wants Jamaharon.
Oh, you still want it. I can hear your nasty boy thoughts. Jamaharon! This boy wants Jamaharon!
For non-Trek fans, Jama Haron is some sort of sexual thing that we never really get fully defined. And this creature is something called an anobaj. Anobaj, something like that. Oh, and it does the creepy exorcist crawl up the side of the building. They learn that an Andorian in the bathroom said the general's in a bar down the road, and they tear ass down the road.
Cut back to Rutherford. He's got a new gig in medical.
That's right. He relates engineering to anatomy. Ta'ana is supportive. And then she's like, why don't you chat with the guy and keep him distracted while Tendi does a difficult procedure. And instead, he makes him freak the fuck out.
Yeah. Everything's going to be fine. Good. You've only got an 18% chance that you're going to die.
That's such a huge bad number. Like 0.18 would be bad, but 18, come on now. Let's see. Last one is, those are dilithium burns? How are you still alive, man? You should be dead. Dr. Ta'ana is not amused. She kicks him out. Tendi takes over and immediately calms the guy down. He's like, that robot said I was dying. Poor Rutherford. That's kind of fucked up that he called him a robot. I just want to say, you know, it's kind of a rude label.
A little speciest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So medical was a wash. So then he's hanging out with Shax, who I still don't think they've even named yet. But anyways, Shax heads security, and he takes Rutherford back into the holodeck. Or is this what's that Jeet Kune Do? What's Spock? What's not Spock?
Are you talking about Anbo-jitsu? Anbo-jitsu that Riker and his dad play?
Yeah, American Gladiators with blades.
Yeah, hell yeah. That shit was great. So yeah, it's some sort of holo training program. And Shax has him fight 6 Borgs. No, much more than that. 15 maybe? Nope. And he's like, oh, maybe my implant can tell me how to fight. And all of a sudden, it optimizes a combat strategy, and he takes them all out. It's totally epic. He's using the environment.
He's ripping people's arms off, slapping them around.
Throwing one into the others. Oh, it's so good. Rips a guy's eye out. Gnarly. So that's the program's smorgasbord. And Shax says that program is supposed to teach you how to accept defeat. But instead, he destroyed it. He says, Ensign, you are a natural-born warrior. Back on the planet, Mariner says, keep your head down, Andorians don't mess around. And Boimler's like, yeah, I know how people are. Don't tell me what's up. And she's like, just shut up and keep an eye on the shuttle. And then Boimler sees a man being menaced. Instead of doing what he's been told to by Mariner, he runs in. Mariner's like, Boimler! And he waves his phaser around. And the old guy turns into a creature and then into a little boy. And he goes, I'm a little boy!
And skitters out the window.
Now I'm a little boy!
Oh, shapeshifter? Ah, boo.
And now Boimler's in a bar fight full with an entire bar of Andorians. And whatever these rock creatures are?
Yeah. So the shapeshifter is called a Vendorian. I believe that was in a previous episode of Star Trek. They start a bar
One of the guys
fight.
throwing a bar stool he looks like the same guy as Morn.
Yeah, there's a Morn
from Deep
there.
Space Nine.
There's at least one Morn guy there. Boimler's like, stand down. This is in violation of the Tolganian, neutrality pact. And Mariner just takes over. jumps up on the table. She like Kirk hands the guy in the neck, and then she says, "The next 5 rounds are on me," and everybody chills out. And they carry her off like moshing at a punk rock situation. Yeah, let me pause it. You've got a rock guy, you've got a bald-headed, orangey, pointy ear person. You've got like a sort of Cardassian type, but with pointy horn ridges and no obvious spoon, so I'm not sure what that is.
Bunch of Klingons. Everybody's got these crazy, like, it's like a knife that's made out of knives. In this crazy, like, Star Wars cantina bar of broken glass and angry Andorians.
As they're carting her off, Mariner says, "Sir, I don't know you. That's Starfleet property you're handling."
And she's paying for the drinks with the wallet that she lifted from the guy that Boimler ran into last time.
So that means she did that annoying thing where you trick a dog to chase a ball and then, like, palmed it or whatever. That's cruel.
Hey, it worked. And for some reason, Boimler is not only bloody and crying in the alley outside the bar, but his pants are down.
Oh my God.
like this day has totally kicked his ass.
Not only did he lose that fight, he got pantsed. Terrible. So, and he's just losing it. He feels inadequate compared to Mariner's awesomeness. All that studying, and where did it get me? I should just turn in my uniform and go work on a research asteroid. And Mariner is horrified. Do not even joke about that.
No, everybody working on an asteroid is a creep.
And here's where I definitely pointed out that I need to get this soundbite. Because Boimler goes on a run that is so hilarious. I think it's 1745. Just punching in the number there. Or no, she's still talking. Let's see. All that studying and where did it get me? Klingon threw a knife at my head. I nearly got eggs laid in my throat. Those guys at the bar wanted to eat me. What is that? What are you doing? Cadelia Elite. No. He's still complaining. Okay, 1824.
I guess I'm just not cut out for Starfleet.
Oh, please, you're Mr. Starfleet.
No, I'm not. Not like you are. I should just turn in my uniform and go work on a research asteroid.
No, absolutely not. Do not even joke about that. That is the lamest thing you could do.
I should just study bugs on a far-off planet and then eventually get eaten, and no one will even know until they stumble across my distress call, but it'll be way too late, and then they'll have to spend a bunch of time deciphering how things went wrong based on my final shaky video logs.
God, that shit killed me. Mariner says Starfleet needs book-smart people like Boimler. He throws away his communicator and runs off. And he says he's going to quit. Next up, Rutherford is in security. Shax is giving a speech about how great he is. It says, "I have no greater honor than to die beside you in battle." And Rutherford sees somebody come out of a Jeffries tube, and he's like, "Sir, I got to go back to engineering." He sees like a shiny, gleaming, clean tube. He's got to have those tubes, baby. And then Shax says, "Got to be true to yourself. Am I right, Bears? Oorah!" And Rutherford says, "Aw, Bears."
Bears. And he leaves another room, having quit his job, to a room of people cheering for him.
Just so stoked. So at least he impressed them. Dr. Ta'ana, not so much. Next up, we're down on the planet, and Mariner's dragging poor complaining Boimler. And a Ferengi pops out and goes, "Humans, I noticed you are injured. Perhaps I could provide you transport."
Into this creepy cave.
Mariner pretends that he's a Bolian, and so Boimler is just like, "Come on, don't be an idiot." And he says, "Hey, Ferengi, get out of here. Get. He could not be more Ferengi. The big ears, the beady eyes, that greedy thing they do with their hands. Human. It's hilarious, but it's also annoying that he's like stereotyping Ferengis. You know, like it's tricky because according to Star Trek canon, all Ferengi are scandalous like money grubbers.
And every single time that you're trying to show a future where like a bunch of progress has been made, one of the things they do is they'll put a Ferengi in a place where they wouldn't be now. There's a Ferengi on the bridge of the Enterprise once. There's a later episode of this where they cut to like a school full of children in the future, and they're learning about Boimler, and there's a Ferengi there in the class on some So it's some utopia where a Ferengi can like be in Starfleet. Although Nog joined Starfleet.
Someday capitalism will no longer exist. Yeah, Rom on Deep Space Nine is a contradiction because he like tries to form a union, and then he becomes an unpaid like wrench turner on the station. Maybe they pay. I don't know. The Starfleet, because they clearly have money that they use on the station.
Yeah, they like get money to get things, but like they don't get paid.
Right, where's this money coming from? Does Starfleet have a deal with like somebody that lives elsewhere that like makes money? Like where's this money coming from? Do they sell dilithium?
Yeah. Like they've got some exchange program. You get a bunch of, I don't know, like tickets at an arcade and you trade them in for Latinum or something. But I've always wondered about that.
Now I need a Western where somebody is rustling the money carriage, you know, the coach, the post office coach or whatever it is that has the money in it. I need like a bandit heist episode. The payroll, that's what I'm talking about, where they grab the payroll.
We did get a fistful of datas.
Fistful of datas.
That's the one where Data became a
it was Western. It was a Western like look because it was on the holodeck.
A holodeck Western with Worf and Alexander having to do their thing. One other thing I love about the lower decks, there's no Alexander.
Oh, that poor kid. Imagine being so bad at acting that they make you have a bad father just so they don't have to see you very often.
Across two different franchises, like two whole shows, where your dad being a bad dad is a key character trait. We can cut this part out of the show, but I will just point out very quickly that when you're talking about like the actor who played him, not his fault. He didn't do this. He's just a kid actor. That kid is white.
Is he?
That's the kid from Blank Check. That is a white, blonde Californian kid that is just straight up in blackface on TNG. That's a real thing. That's not even a joke there. That's just a thing that happened.
So wait, that means that when they introduced Alexander to the show, Michael Dorn didn't have enough juice to say, no, that's fucked up.
Yeah, I have no idea what the thought process was. All I know is
I
at the
can't
end
think
of the
of
day,
another
we got
reason, right? Like no black people on the executive side, no black people in the writer's room. I mean, basically nobody with enough power to be like, they should at least be mixed. Like, this is nuts.
But it's not like they don't have a precedent, because like for the last episode of this where I was talking about that Spike Glove Code of Honor, they fired the director who did that one because it wasn't written to be a planet of black people. He chose to have them cast that way. So this planet full of backwards like warrior dipshits was all black people. Whoops. And so like they shot it, they couldn't do anything, so they fired him for it. So like they knew. That was like episode 2 or 3 or something. So they knew that this was wrong. And then Alexander. I don't know. But then we also got Chakotay, so that's a whole Star Trek for yeah, it's a beautiful ideal, but sometimes that execution falls pretty short.
So they drag drunk Corrin out of the shuttle and drop him off at the diplomat place, whatever it is.
A shuttle that has like a pile of parking tickets stuck on its windshield.
Oh, yeah. And Mariner's like, what are they going to do, bill me? So I guess that presumes that you will never come back to this planet, or that Starfleet will pay the tab.
Or not, because, do they have money? Is that a thing?
Okay, anytime somebody talks about Starfleet paying for something, I just remember when the CIA sent pallets covered with bills wrapped in plastic over to Iraq to fund their greasy little corporate takeover. And like money just disappeared. Nobody had any idea where it went. Like it just had no value at some point just because like they were just printing it for this operation. So I picture it something like that. Like the treasury bonds for Starfleet must be really low.
I always imagine it's a bunch like just a stack of those hexagonal barrels full of like, I don't know, full of some weird powder that does something. And it's hard to replicate. Or maybe it's that.
Oh, maybe it gives you telepathic powers. That's choice. Maybe it makes ships go faster. Like you dump it in your gas tank. What other problems are there in space? It's just those two things.
Yep. Nope, I'm drawing a blank. That's it. It's the only other commodity I can imagine putting in a barrel are those pills those dudes were addicted to in TNG. But I don't think Starfleet
planet that like would sell them the drug and they could get off it.
Drug
but they
dealer
wouldn't.
planet and junkie planet, and they had to send them back and forth in a shuttle. So yeah, I don't think Starfleet's selling drugs. So I guess it's just one of those two things.
Could be gravity plating. We've never seen where that comes from.
Oh.
Heisenberg compensators. Maybe those are pricey.
They keep doing things with that deflector dish. They probably burn through those pretty quick.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think they'd be giving those away, though.
Deflector glass must be expensive. Otherwise, every ship would have one, right? We only ever see Starfleet ships with them. But you would assume all ships need something like that, right?
That's true.
To push
now
away
I'm just going to be stuck on that for a bit. Yeah. Or whatever. Or you'll use it to blast the Borg or go through time or strengthen your shields. What else did they use it for? In some of the movies, that's the one that explodes the best.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
you can just eject it. So it's probably that then. I changed my answer.
First Contact, didn't they jettison it?
Yeah, they had to like go out and like manually uncouple it, and then Worf had to like shoot a hose. There's just a hose down there.
Yeah.
The
no need to cover
hose.
the hoses with impermeable structures. Just leave them hanging out.
Yeah, we're just gonna run all the power of the warp core through the dish, but before it gets there, here's a hose.
Spacewalk battle, so cool. I love a spacewalk. We had one in episode 1.
Yep.
So we're almost done here. Let's see. They drag Corrin out, and he says, "Fetch me my drinking horn. I need ale." And pukes up some blood wine.
Yep. He's harassing the receptionist.
Yes, the receptionist at Starfleet, whatever, or Federation Embassy. So Mariner pretends to have not known about the Ferengi thing. Boimler promises not to tell anyone. Smash cut to him telling everyone. And he starts doing he starts doing Ferengi. And again, I have to say, this is a little questionable, Boims. Moi, moi, human.
Human!
He was doing the hand thing and everything. Mariner pretends to be offended and walks out and then gives a little smile. We dip over to Rutherford and Tendi.
His harrowing adventure trying to find a new job.
I belong in the tubes.
All right, I'll just watch it on my pad.
Yeah, it was really cute. Tendi is so adaptable, you know?
Mm-hmm.
She's like, yeah, we can figure it out. Once they figure out exactly what the problem is. And then this Ferengi dude calls up Mariner on her pad. They're having a chat. His name is Quimp. I wonder if we'll ever see him again.
I hope so. He's a dapper little guy. He's got his monocle. asking if he did a good performance, if he was a convincing Ferengi no good.
And then we cut to the Jeffries tube. Tendi is watching some solar event on her pad. And Rutherford is staring at the side of the tube and goes, "It's beautiful." Man, what a great show.
Another up in the can.
Credits. So how do you feel after 2 episodes of this remarkable show?
Honestly, it makes me keep thinking about like what happens in later episodes and making me want to really just like plow through again.
Yeah.
Get in there. But yeah, it keeps up all the references, all the like the lore. It's just really knows Trek, which, you know, depending what you're watching, is something you can't always say about some of the shows. And they also just like, they're clearly cramming as much in there as they can at all times to like give something to you, the viewer. Like, yeah. You want the Trek. You're here for Trek. Here it is. We're gonna give you as much as we can.
Yeah, I noticed that this one doesn't feature the bridge crew. This is one of those episodes that's like narrow focus on our 4 regulars. I mean, we get a few moments here and there, but yeah, it's pretty much just them. And I like that it's showing us the different styles of Trek too, right? We get a whole ship adventure, and then we get a little focus in on these wacky hijinks of our favorite characters. I'm trying to think if there's any other Star Trek eps that I can think of like this one. Like 2 pairs of 2. I feel like they always made the B plot like kind of small and separate.
Yeah, like they'd have like Geordi and Data go do a thing, or like Jake and who's his Klingon?
Oh, Jake and Nog.
Nog, yeah, Jake and Nog. They'd be off doing some adventures, getting their Yamik sauce.
Yes, this is a Yamik sauce episode for sure.
It is a little bit weird that like it feels like they didn't trust us. Or they didn't trust us to get that like Mariner is a very experienced badass and Boimler is sort of like a nerdy little know-it-all. Because it kind of feels like another first episode, you know?
Like they're reinforcing it.
Yeah, like we're basically getting reintroduced to everybody but Tendi. Tendi's just kind of there this episode. But we've learned a ton about Rutherford, and then we get, just Boimler constantly beefing it. Mariner constantly knowing exactly what is up and being a total badass while doing it. And a lot more liquids in this episode, actually. That's right, you clocked that. There are a lot of liquids in this show.
Let's see, what liquids did we have in this one?
All right, we got blood wine. We got ramen soup.
Ramen soup.
Does gok count?
Well, those worms probably have some liquid, but they're mostly
moist
just
worms.
Yeah.
And then whatever the Andorians? whatever they were drinking in that bar. Those Borg got kind of juicy. There's some sort of lubricant there, I think.
When he rips off the arm, slaps the other one.
Yeah, we got a minimum 5.
Did you mention oil from the tubes?
Nope, there's oil from the tubes. That's right. There's 6.
Lubricants.
Did we get any blood in sickbay?
What happened in sickbay? No, that guy had that
He just had
barrier thing above him.
The clip show device on him. Yeah.
The tube.
Do they ever bring up the fact that if the Doctor was a cat, everybody has hair in their bodies now? Does that ever come up?
I have to feel that all your furry species have some sort of field generator that keeps their dander in, or some kind of suit like under the uniform. You know, like a microfiber that wicks away dander.
Although the Doc doesn't spend a lot of time in that outfit, it turns out. Basically, all of her free time is as little as possible.
Oh, yeah, she likes to let it all hang out sometimes, doesn't she? Good old Dr. Ta'ana.
The Doctor's always got to have some weird bit.
She had a good moment here where she's like, "Get the fuck out of my sick bay." I think my favorite part of this episode was Rutherford's fight.
Yeah, where he just goes full badass and tears apart a room full of Borg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That Vandorian shapeshifter saying, "I'm a little boy." was pretty great.
that was great. And I do love a snake woman getting hosed out of out of a square. This guy wants Jamaharan.
Yes, Boimler, we will learn, has some weird radar for women. We'll find as we go along.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, what do you think of this episode overall?
I enjoy it. I don't think it's the strongest in the series, but I mean, I still believe no bad episodes. I think it's still fun. You get to go see the different areas of a city, like some Federation embassy planet. Everybody's got their own little neighborhoods. You get to see. Well, you kind of get to see what the different bridge crew are in charge of. But I don't know, man. I just kind of wish there was a little bit more going on in this one, you know?
There wasn't a space battle.
Mm-hmm. There was a bar fight, though.
There was a bar fight.
It's a pretty good bar fight.
Yeah. I'm trying to think how they could have sexed this one up. Had a lot of jokes. Maybe something more for Tendi to do. She just was kind of a spectator in this one.
Unfortunately. But she gets her ups later. It's fun. The guy who played Quimp, the fake Ferengi scumbag. That's Tom
good.
Kenny. That's SpongeBob.
Tom Kenny, SpongeBob.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, well, I didn't think we could do 2 hours on 2 25-minute episodes of television, but we managed to somehow do this. How do you feel about it?
About the show or the pod?
About the podcast. Is this something you could see yourself doing again? Or would you rather, shift it up?
I could definitely do this again. I think maybe a pre-record meeting to sort of maybe...
Good idea.
Maybe plot out a sort of skeleton, get an outline, and then riff in there.
Okay, sounds good.
Are you for the dialogue in that? Are you just rolling with the subtitles, or did you pull a copy of the script?
No, I didn't pull up the script. I took meticulous notes. A script would probably be easier. Yeah, it's funny because with a comedy, like if we were to do this with The Simpsons, so much of it is just, oh, I love that joke.
Yeah.
I love that joke. But it does have nice visuals. It's got some good music. I think there's usually enough to say in these things. But yeah, it's rarely as deep as a normal Star Trek episode, probably because there's less time. So, have you ever cried at a Star Trek Lower Decks episode?
Not yet. Again, there's a bunch of episodes I haven't seen yet, so maybe I could see it happening. I have cried in shows, but I think one of the last times that happened was the Venture Brothers.
Gosh, that's
what about you?
interesting.
Has this ever got you?
Oh,
hit you in the feels?
Of course, yeah. Like when Mariner makes up with her mom, stuff like that usually gets me.
Mm-hmm.
When Boimler's double, that thing happens to him. Spoiler alert.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few things, yeah. But it is like a comedy show. So you'll start to feel something and then a second later it's time to laugh again. So but yeah, so it does most what Star Trek does well, and then it also gives you those laughs. I like it a lot.
Star Trek with its hair down. Star Trek with a drink in its hand.
Hell yeah. All right. Or recommendations? Do you have anything that you think people should check out?
I mean, if this was at all interesting to the listener, I do think people should go pick up a copy of Warp Your Own Way. Ryan North's Choose Your Own Adventure Star Trek Lower Decks comic book, and also his first, was it published as a bunch of different like actual comic book sized books, or just the one you can buy now? Well, it's the only one you can buy now anyways. He's got like just a straightforward Lower Decks comic book, which is also a bunch of fun and very much in the spirit of this. But that Warp Your Own Way.
I think if it came out in issues, they'd call it a trade paperback, whereas they call this one a graphic novel, so I assume it's...
Even though it is very episodic. But yeah, that makes sense. But yeah.
I could be wrong, though, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like a very clever Choose Your Own Adventure. I've never had to do math while doing Choose Your Own. I've never had to like keep notes to keep track of things.
Oh but, man, yeah. there were Choose Your Own Adventures there for a while that had you like filling out character sheets and rolling dice and shit.
Wait, this from like Wizards of the Coast or what?
It was pre-Wizards of the Coast. It was like in that era though, like right around there, where they were kind of trying to video gamify books. Yeah, that was fun. I hadn't thought about that in a long time.
Well, you got any recommendations?
Let's see. What have I been reading? I'm rereading The Amulet of Samarkand, but that's for the show, so that's not a good rec. What did I start? I started A Psalm for the Wild Built.
Hell yeah.
It's one of Becky Chambers' Monk.
Yeah, Monk and Robot
books.
Yeah,
and I started Semiosis by Sue Burke. I read the second one first, so now I'm going back to figure out what's going on with the first one. So I think that's what I'll be doing later tonight.
That's fair. I read the fourth of the Becky Chambers Wayfarers books first, because that's just what was in the library. Luckily, those are like, they're not super linear.
Yeah, they're each one's its own focus. And you might get one or two characters mentioned from the other books. But yeah, there's... I was surprised at how episodic those were.
Yeah. The Monk and Robot ones. Have you read them? Are you rereading? Or is this...
No, this is my first time with Monk and Robot.
Okay. Yeah, those ones are pretty linear. But they're also like super short. They're very digestible.
Nice.
That's the first Becky Chambers I ever read. Was that? It's like reading a hug.
I love that. Yeah, she's kind of like Star Trek. Like everyone's really nice to each other.
Like a humanist ideal, like a believable utopian future.
I remember while I was reading it, I was checking in with the book group on the DeSoto, and I was like, man, this one guy's a real jerk, huh? He's kind of racist. And they were like, yeah, he gets put in his place. And like, that was the meanest guy in the entire book. I was like, this is for me. This is nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I like my grimdark whatever, but right now I'm just in the mood for a nice happy ending every now and then.
Yeah.
I'll feel good.
Hell yeah. Well, speaking on that, I got my Prodigy Blu-ray, and I can definitely recommend Prodigy for that. It's everybody's so sweet and nice, you know. Sometimes like watching a kid's show is real or like a kid's movie like The Lion King or whatever, like it can brighten your day.
Mm-hmm. And on that note, the new DuckTales is extremely good.
What?
I mean, I don't know if it's still going. I hope it is. It's very good. The cast is wild, and it's actually very funny. Cool. That's coming from me as an adult. Yeah.
Right on. I'll check that out. Well, how do people find you on the internet if you want to be found?
I'm on the USS Hood, the Discord for the Greatest Generation and adjacent podcasts. So I'm Cthulhu Calamari on there. And if you are in Canada or the entertainment industry anywhere in the world, if it's that niche, you could look me up if you need legal representation. But that's I'm not gonna force it. I'm not gonna use this to leverage that more than that. But hey, if you want to,
our vast team of listeners, they're gonna get together. They're gonna make movies. I can't wait.
Yep, that'll be good. So yeah, you can look me up. Just look up the firm Altman and Company in Vancouver. I'm still not on the website, but just say you're looking for Dave, and they'll get you through to me.
Good deal. Well, thank you so much for doing this, and we'll see you all very soon. I'd love to hear about y'all's Star Trek journey. Hit me up on Blue Sky or any of the others at El Jefe Tacoma. And the show, we're on Facebook, The Great and Secret Knowledge, and we'd love to hear from you. Spread the word. Hit those 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, and tell us what you think and what you think we should cover, and let's make this the best show ever of its kind. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you for having me.
Hell yeah.
I appreciate you. I appreciate a reason to rewatch Lower Decks.
Great show. All right, folks. We're going to sign off now with a quote. I belong in the tubes.
Human.
I should just turn in my uniform and go work on a research asteroid.
How much meat did I eat?